Hello and welcome to my analysis on Wilfred Owen's poem Exposure. So just like all my other videos, I'm not going to go through every single thing you could say about this poem, but I am going to hit all of the arts wall features, so you are going to have something to say about each element of the mark scheme that the examiner will be looking for in your literature paper too. I'm also going to be looking at giving you a bit of detail about each one rather than just small little bits about a variety of things, because the examiner wants depth, they want variety, they want detail. So, Wilfred Owen's Exposure. This is a poem all about life in the trenches on the Western Front in World War I. And this is a poem telling us how the perception of war, about the idea of it being full of battles and bravery, is not what it's really like. It's actually a lot of monotonous time spent waiting in awful conditions. But the fear and the anxiety is always there, and that this, with the living conditions, has a huge impact on the soldier's mental state. Owen is making the point that just because there is not lots of battles doesn't mean these soldiers are not suffering. So this would be particularly relevant if the question in your exam was about the weather, the power of nature, the power of fear, or conflict on someone's mental state. It would also be suitable if it was a question about the conflict of someone's mental state, but also the physical conflict, such as this one is in World War I. His key messages here is that war is not what you'd expect it to be, but in fact the reality of war is no less damaging to the soldiers than guns and bullets. And he asks us to not underestimate the power of nature and fear and the impact it can have on someone. Just because you are not in a battle doesn't mean you're not being hurt and you're not suffering. He also makes the point, quite key towards the end, that these lives are precious and they should be looked after better than this. This is, like a lot of Owen's poetry, an attack on those people that have put these soldiers in this situation. He doesn't agree with the war and he doesn't agree with what they're doing there. So, first of all, our techniques. There is this metaphor here, attacks once more in ranks on shivering ranks of grey. And here the weather is doing as much damage as the attacking army. It hurts soldiers and it creates fear and it's panic because it is attacking them, it's attacking the soldiers. He's also used this word choice of ranks. Now ranks in an army, they come again and again and again. So there's an order and an inevitability to this weather. They're never going to be able to escape from it. It's also quite key that he chose grey. Grey is obviously the colour of the clouds, but it also is the colour of the German army. So therefore he's indicating that the weather is as much an enemy of the soldiers as the Germans were in their grey uniforms. Now later on he uses this metaphor to describe blood as crusted dark red jewels. So here he's comparing blood to a jewel. He's reflecting how precious and special the lives of the soldiers are. So therefore he is attacking the fact these soldiers' lives are being disregarded in this environment. He feels that their lives are jewels and they should be looked after just like jewels. Then structure. There's a really apparent, really clear structural choice that Wilfred Owen has made, that he's ended every fifth line in each stanza quite abruptly and quite sharply. Now this sudden cut-off of pace and flow reflects the anticlimax of every day. Every day these soldiers are building up and building up, their anxiety, their fear is growing and growing, and then nothing happens. Now we get frustrated while we're reading that, and that is echoed in the soldiers' frustration surely, of them getting built up every single day. And we can almost feel the mental damage that this would create if this kept going on and on and on, like every day at the Western Front. He also repeats the same line though, but nothing happened, quite regularly, and therefore this reflects how the same thing is happening every single day in battle. Nothing is happening. It also, for me, these broken lines reflect the broken minds of these soldiers. They should be complete, they should be full like all the lines previously, but they're broken, they're snapped short, just like these soldiers' mental state in this state of fear and panic. Now there's loads of really key words here that you could pick up on. I've picked up on two. First of all, I've got knife, the winds that knife us, and he uses knife as a verb here because it's attacking the soldiers. So showing the sufferance and the pain the weather is giving the soldiers. But knives are also secretive and they're sneaky, so therefore this weather was not an obvious pain of war, but it is just as painful as the enemy. The other one I would pick is this one down the bottom. All their eyes are ice. So a very simple point we're showing. This shows how cold the soldiers are. But I'd go a bit further than that and look at eyes being the windows of the soul. You can tell a lot about someone's confidence, character, their courage, their heart, their state of mind from their eyes. And therefore if these soldiers' eyes are ice, then they're practically dead inside. They're ice inside because of the constant pain and the suffering they have gone through. So here Owen is indicating the physical and mental damage of these conditions. However, I do feel this is also an attack on those that have put them there, because ice can be thawed, these soldiers could be saved, but the following line afterwards, but nothing happens. These people, the generals, the people who put the soldiers there, have left them there, and they are doing nothing as well. Then I've got some alliteration. In the fourth line, we're worried by silence, sentries, whisper, curious, nervous, and we've got this regular sibilance of this S sound. So this sounds like the cold, hissing winds. The fact we can hear it reflects how total and all-encompassing the soldier's pain from the weather is. There is no escape from this wind. Even we can't escape it sitting here revising for our GCSE literature exam. But also the long, unpleasant sound reflects how long and unpleasant this experience of war is. Now I've picked up on a couple of word choices here as well, because he's picked up on silence and the fact they have to whisper because of it. So this reflects how there is nothing going on, it is silent, and they're having to whisper it even though it is silent. Just because nothing is happening, it doesn't mean the soldier's not afraid, and therefore this total constant fear is partly what drives the mental breakup of these soldiers. Finally, and this is the key part of this poem, is the rhythm and rhyme of it. There's quite a lot to say about it. First of all, we've got quite a lot of heavy ellipsis all the way through, so this elongates the lines. Each line is dragged on the same way each day, and each moment is also dragging on in this war. Then we've also got lots of caesuras and ensops. This is a very slow poem. If you read this poem out loud, it would take a long time. So it's because it's quite hard to get through and it's quite disjointed. So the same way the war and each day of it seems to be going so slowly for the soldiers, the mental torture is continuing in our reading of it too. There's also quite a lot of half rhyme. I've picked up on a couple here. I've got glozed and closed, and I've got there and theirs. It doesn't rhyme completely perfectly. So the rhyme does not go together perfectly, reflecting how the soldiers in this environment do not go together. They should not be here. But it also reflects the mental breakup. They're falling apart just like the rhyme is.